Chapter 73 to 74. The moment Trunks sensed the emergence of the sinister key, his expression instantly hardened and anger flared in his eyes. This key belonged to Black Goku, the one who had decimated the future timeline and extinguished 99% of its mortals' population. This individual was referred to as Black Goku because he bore an uncanny resemblance to Goku, but his personality was a stark contrast. He was nothing short of a bloodthirsty demon, viewing mortals as insignificant as ants and slaughtering them indiscriminately. He even went as far as to label them as filthy creatures. "It's such a potent key, and it's brimming with malevolence," Krillin noted, having immediately sensed the ki. After his transformation into an android, others were unable to sense his ki, but he could clearly perceive the ki of others. This was one of his newfound strengths. As others couldn't sense his ki, they might lower their guard against him, which could yield unexpected results when launching an attack. "Goten, Krillin, this aura belongs to the one who wreaked havoc in the future timeline. We call him Black. I didn't expect him to time travel and follow me here. This is troublesome and could potentially inflict catastrophic damage on this timeline," Trunks warned, retracting his sword and placing it on his back, ready to confront Black. He was determined to defeat Black this time and prevent him from running amok in this timeline. Let's go and take a look. I'm quite intrigued by this guy," Goten said calmly. Zamasu, now Black, was actually quite weak. Although he had obtained Goku's body with the Super Shenron, he still couldn't fully control the power, not even to the extent of Super Saiyan God. Therefore, erasing him completely wouldn't be a difficult task. Trunks quickly nodded in agreement. Then everyone stepped out of the house. In the sky, a massive purple rift materialized. Purple lightning flashed within the rift. In the next instant, a figure emerged from the rift. He looked exactly like Goku, down to the last detail. However, he wore a green earring on his right ear and a time ring on his finger. His martial arts uniform, just like his aura, was pure black. His looks were identical to Goku's. "This monster!" Trunks clenched his fists tightly, glaring at Black, who had suddenly appeared in the sky. Anger flickered in his eyes. He suspected that in the future timeline, his mother and Mai had been killed by him. Oh? Trunks? And Krillin and that boy, Goku's son? Just when everyone was watching Black in the sky, he also spotted Goten and the others. He quickly recognized Trunks and Krillin. After obtaining Goku's body, he had also acquired Goku's memories. He naturally knew Krillin and quickly guessed Goten's identity, because when he took Goku's body in his timeline, Goten was by Goku's side. He had also mercilessly killed Goten. He didn't expect Goten in this timeline to have grown up, but since he was inexplicably teleported to this timeline, he decided to kill them all too. "Goku," Bulma murmured in a low voice as she looked at Black, who was identical to Goku in the sky. "Mom, that guy is not Goku," Trunks reminded her. He then unsheathed his sword and let out a roar. "Ah!" With a deep roar, Trunks transformed into Super Saiyan 2. He was the only warrior in the future timeline, so he trained relentlessly every day. After the threats of androids had been eliminated in his timeline, he had also received guidance from future Shin. As a result, he had fully mastered the form of Super Saiyan 2. But even so, he was still no match for Black, and that opponent would grow stronger and stronger as they fought. "Damned fiend, I will definitely end you this time." After transforming into Super Saiyan 2, Trunks' body flickered and vanished instantly. When he reappeared, he was already above Black. Holding the sword with both hands, he slashed straight down. "Remarkable, truly remarkable," Krillin exclaimed, his eyes wide with astonishment. "I never imagined Trunks could become this powerful. He's not any weaker than Goku and the others." At this moment, Trunks had only achieved the form of Super Saiyan 2. yet the strength and speed he exhibited were evidently on par with Goku's Super Saiyan 3 form. Krillin was left wondering how Trunks, training in solitude, had managed to attain such formidable power. Loneliness and despair can rapidly forge a person's strength, Goten explained in a soft voice. In the future timeline, Trunks has no allies. He alone must confront all adversaries and safeguard the Earth. He's compelled to push himself to become stronger, to tackle all threats and protect our world. Goten had experienced this feeling before. There was a time when he, too, was the Earth's last hope. He could empathize with Trunks' situation and comprehend why he had grown so strong, because behind him there's no longer any support. He must rely solely on himself. No one will be there to help him when the demons comes crashing down on his world. Goten concluded, his voice filled with understanding and respect. In the end, we must all depend on ourselves. After hearing Goten's words, Krillin turned to look at him, a thought crossing his mind. Is this why you have advanced so rapidly in such a short time? Because you don't have anyone to rely on. Meanwhile, in mid-air, Black remained unfazed by Trunks' spirited attack. Having fought countless times in the future timeline, he was well acquainted with Trunks' fighting style and power. He knew that Trunks' current strength posed no threat to him. Black effortlessly caught Trunks' sword. An energy ball, black as night, instantly condensed in his other hand and exploded directly on Trunks' chest. Accompanied by a violent explosion, Trunks' body was sent flying, leaving a cloud of black mist in the sky. After being blown dozens of feet away, Trunks erupted his Kai to stabilize his body. However, by this time, Black had already reached him. With a swift roundhouse kick, he struck Trunks hard on the neck. Trunks' body slammed into the ground, creating a massive sinkhole. It was clear that even Trunks, with his super strength, was no match for Black Goku. "Are you all right, Trunks?" Krillin quickly helped Trunks to his feet, his gaze fixed on the black in the sky. "That guy's strength is really too strong. Even if Goku were resurrected, I doubt he'd be his opponent. As for myself, I am no match for that guy, although I trained with Whis for a whole month." He thought to himself. His basic combat power had indeed been greatly improved, but he couldn't transform to increase the power like the Saiyans. Autor notes, the author forgot that Kaioken exists. Goten then stepped forward. "All right, let me face this guy." His body slowly materialized in front of Black. "Hey, you dare to invade Earth without permission? You're quite bold." Black smirked. "Little runt, you are Goku's youngest son. In my timeline, you were crushed to death by me like an ant." "Is that so?" Goten replied indifferently. "If that's the case, then you're even more damned." Black's anger flared at Goten's nonchalant response. "Brat, don't get carried away in front of a god. In the eyes of a god, you are nothing but a bunch of dirty, ignorant bugs. As a mere Kaioshin candidate from the 10th universe, you dare to speak such wild words," Goten retorted, his tone still indifferent. "In my opinion, you're the self-righteous bug." Enraged, Black roared, "You stubborn fool, die!" The moment his roar echoed, he rushed directly towards Goten. Even without any Saiyan transformations, Goten's speed and strength were clearly superior to Trunks. "Watch out, Goten. That bastard is insanely strong," Trunks warned. But as Black threw a punch, Goten grabbed his fist and twisted it. With a crisp, bone-cracking sound, Black's entire arm was completely deformed, rendering him incapable of combat. In the next instant, Goten's body vanished as if he were a ghost. No one could see him clearly. The only sound that filled the air was the crisp crack of breaking bones. Click, click, click. Almost in the blink of an eye, Black's limbs were completely broken. "Ah!" As the shrill screams echoed, Black's eyes flickered with a look of unparalleled horror. Why does this boy in front of me feel stronger than Goku? He's so different from the Goten I killed. An unprecedented sense of fear welled up in his heart. He was just a boy. Yet he possessed such immense power, even stronger than the Goku he had encountered before. Am I seeing things? Trunks was utterly dumbfounded, witnessing Black being completely crippled in the blink of an eye. He rubbed his eyes vigorously, questioning if he was hallucinating. Goten's strength was overwhelming. They hadn't even seen what had transpired, and he had already incapacitated Black. Is this the so-called god? Pathetic trash. Next, bid farewell to this beautiful world. Goten's tone remained indifferent as he looked at the terrified Black. He didn't take Black seriously at all, even if he transformed into Super Saiyan Rose or fused into Black Zamasu. Goten, who had mastered Ultra Instinct, didn't pay them any mind. No, impossible! It's absolutely impossible! Black was still muttering in disbelief. After planning for such a long time, he had finally found the Super Dragon Balls and switched bodies with Goku. Was he going to perish in this forsaken place today? He was not ready to accept this, but now he had completely lost the ability to resist. Like a fish on a chopping board, he was ready to be slaughtered. Just as Black stared at Goten in disbelief, Goten's body flashed again. Then a heavy punch went straight through Black's body. Poof! Following this, Black's pupils rapidly dilated. An intense feeling of death instantly enveloped him completely. He never expected that after following Trunks to this timeline, he would be killed in an instant. Was his grand ambition coming to an end here? At this moment, no one noticed that the time ring on Black's finger suddenly emitted a faint light. Immediately afterward, the purple-black rift formed behind him and began to close rapidly. What? What's going on? Black is gone! Seeing Black being sucked into the purple-black rift, Trunks panicked. If this guy escaped to the future timeline, then the future timeline would indeed be doomed. Those who survived would undoubtedly all be killed. Did he run away? It seems that I was a little too careless just now. It's better not to let this kind of thing happen in the future. Looking at the purple-black sparks and Black's body that had completely disappeared, Goten raised his eyebrows slightly and said to himself, but it was not a big problem. Even if this guy became stronger again, he could still kill him easily. And if Black didn't die right now, he could just go to the future timeline, kill his other counterpart, and acquire Zamasu's immortal body. That kind of ability was still very useful for now. Whoosh! Then, in a flash, he returned to Trunks and Krillin. Goten, did that guy escape? Krillin asked quickly. Well, I was a little too careless just now, and I forgot that he still has the ability to hop through timelines. But it's not a big problem, because the timeline of Trunks will be completely resolved, Goten said lightly. It was just in time to kill Zamasu and acquire the immortal body ability. In this way, there was no need to waste the wish opportunity of the Super Dragon Balls. Unbelievable! Is this truly Goku's son Goten? Such power is astounding, capable of defeating Black in a blink. Even Goku and Gohan shouldn't be able to achieve this. In that moment, Trunks was utterly stunned and deeply shocked. His heart was in turmoil. Who would have thought that such immense power was concealed within Goten? And this power could evidently annihilate Black in an instant. The foe had escaped just now, primarily due to a momentary lapse. Recovering from his shock, Trunks immediately implored Goten, "Goten, could you journey to the future timeline to help us deal with Black? With your power, you can utterly obliterate him." He had witnessed Goten's power firsthand. More importantly, Goten hadn't undergone any Saiyan transformations. Merely using his base strength, he had instantly incapacitated Black. He had even nearly killed him. If he transformed into a Super Saiyan, Trunks couldn't fathom how formidable he would become. All right, I'll accompany you to take a look. That guy was truly bothersome. If I don't eliminate him, I'll feel uneasy. Goten agreed without hesitation. Black had indeed irritated him, especially his malevolent demeanor. Of course, the most crucial factor was his desire to venture to the future timeline for Zamasu's immortal body. Although when one's power reached a certain level, Zamasu's immortal body wouldn't be of much use. But at this stage, it could still yield unexpected benefits. Thank you! Trunks was taken aback by Goten's ready agreement and hastily expressed his gratitude. Now the future timeline could be saved. The surviving humans finally wouldn't have to face death. They finally wouldn't have to live in fear. Mum, could you assist me in generating some energy for the time machine? Because in our future timeline, resources are extremely scarce. My mother had exhausted several years trying to acquire more, but only managed to accumulate enough energy for this trip. Trunks turned to Bulma again and pleaded. It was estimated that on Earth, only Bulma could generate the energy for the time machine. Well, leave this matter to me. Return to the future timeline and then completely eradicate those villains. Bulma also nodded earnestly. After all, the Trunks before her was also her son. She naturally didn't want her son to live in such a harsh environment. Soon, Bulma began working on a power source for the time machine. Having previously interacted with the time machine, she had nearly deciphered the energy principle of the time machine. Moreover, the Earth in this timeline hadn't suffered too much devastation. Therefore, many materials required for creating time machine energy could be easily procured. After about 3 hours, Whis returned to Bulma's house, having packed a lot of delicacies. "Goten, Krillin, let's return," Whis declared. After all, his primary purpose for visiting Earth was to savor and pack delicious food. Now that it was accomplished, there was no need to linger on Earth. And if Beerus couldn't locate him upon waking, he would probably be nagging again. "Whis, why don't you return by yourself this time?" "There are other matters on Earth that I need to investigate," Goten addressed Whis. Other matters? Is it related to that boy? He doesn't seem to be from this timeline. Whis glanced at Trunks, and just by looking he knew that Trunks did not belong to this timeline. An angel's abilities far surpassed their imagination. Yes, he is from the future. The future timeline has suffered a severe blow. If we don't assist, the Earth in the future timeline may be destroyed. Goten didn't conceal anything, as he knew that such matters couldn't be hidden from an angel. Did you know that willfully traveling through time is a grave offense? If Beerus-sama discovers this, you will be severely punished, Whis warned in a stern tone. Willfully traveling through time posed a terrifying threat to both timelines. Just like individuals from the future timeline traveling to this timeline, even if they inadvertently trampled a blade of grass, it could lead to the destruction of this timeline. Although the chances of this were low, it wasn't impossible. Due to such potential dangers, the gods explicitly prohibited mortals from willfully traveling through time. Whis, if you could help me keep this matter a secret, I will treat you to the finest cuisine in the world. Goten, aware of Whis' weakness, proposed directly with a smile. For real. As expected, Whis couldn't resist the allure of food. There was a look of curiosity and anticipation in his eyes. Yes, Lyotan's fermented cabbage beef noodles, hand-marinated with honey-fermented cabbage in a self-heating pot. The taste is definitely a cut above the cup noodles you've had before. To show my sincerity, I'll give you a few more cups. Goten replied with a nod. Author notes, F-King Chinese brand. Author particularly likes it, so I'm gonna leave it here. It's instant noodles. Who TF hand marinates stuff for that? It's a big fat lie. The high-end product was a perfect match for an angel-level deity like Whis. I've heard it tastes excellent. Whis agreed to keep their secret, unable to resist the allure of the delicious food. As long as their actions didn't cause issues between the two timelines, they should be safe from punishment. Goten then asked Krillin to buy a large quantity of Lyotan fermented cabbage beef noodles and self-heating pots from a nearby supermarket. These items didn't cost much, but they were enough to ensure Whis' silence. Satisfied with his haul, Whis hurriedly left. 3 days later, Bulma finally completed the energy source for the time machine, but it only had enough power for one round trip. After making the necessary preparations, Goten, Trunks, and Krillin boarded the time machine, ready to journey to the future timeline. "Goten, Krillin, please take care of Trunks. Don't let him get hurt again," Bulma pleaded sincerely. The sight of Trunks' beaten and bleeding body from his last trip to the future timeline had been heart-wrenching for her. "Don't worry, Bulma," Goten reassured her. "After this trip, I will completely resolve all the crises in the future timeline." He was confident that even if Zamasu and Black combined their powers, they would be no match for him. The only potential issue was the immortal body, but he wondered if the destruction ability of the Hakaishin could completely destroy it. After all, it was bestowed by Super Shenron. After bidding Bulma farewell, the time machine started up, surrounded by a white energy zone, and disappeared from the capsule corp. "Everyone, you must come back alive," Bulma prayed as she watched them vanish. After navigating the turbulence in the space-time tunnel, the trio finally arrived in the future timeline. The scene that greeted them was bleak and desolate, like the end of the world. The once vibrant planet was now shrouded in a miasma. The bustling cities and streets were devastated, and the air was filled with the unpleasant smell of blood. Is this really Earth? It's unbelievable," Krillin murmured in disbelief, his body trembling with anger. The sight of the destruction caused by the Goku look-alike filled him with rage. This was definitely the work of a demon from hell. The despair and helplessness in the air were palpable. Although Goten already knew what to expect, but seeing it with his own eyes was completely different from seeing it in anime. Especially the smell of blood that could be smelled in the air. That smell was full of despair and helplessness. Goten could almost see the helpless humans lying one by one in a pool of blood, their desperate cries for help echoing in his ears. Unconsciously, a powerful force surged from Goten's body, causing Trunks and Krillin to look at him in surprise. "Those two demons are absolutely unforgivable." Goten's fists clenched tightly, his tone icy. If Black and Zamasu were not completely eliminated, countless innocent mortals would suffer. Closing his eyes, Goten began to sense the surrounding Kai. In less than a minute, he detected two key signatures. One was the aura of the former Black, and the other was the aura of a god, obviously Zamasu's. "Trunks, Krillin, I can already sense Black's key. Let's go!" Goten's tone was calm, but both Krillin and Trunks could feel the monstrous killing intent. It seemed that Black was in for a tough time. The two nodded quickly, and in an instant, the three of them disappeared. Meanwhile, in a simple bamboo house on the outermost edge of the earth, two figures wore heavy expressions. These two were naturally Black and Zamasu, the ones Goten and the others were seeking. They had hidden themselves away to allow Black's wounds to heal. After being punched through the body by Goten earlier, he had almost died. Fortunately, Zamasu's healing ability repaired his body in time, and his strength greatly improved after his body healed. "Damn! That brat Goten is actually coming after me." Black felt the key of Goten and Trunks approaching, his face instantly becoming tense and serious. If it were just Trunks, he could kill him with one finger now, but Goten was too powerful. The pain he had endured before left an indelible fear in his heart, and with his increased strength, his fear of Goten grew. "Snort! A mere brat scares you like this? It doesn't seem like your style. Besides, after recovering from your injuries, you now have full strength, not weaker than Goku. Killing that brat should be possible." Zamasu snorted coldly, speaking to Black with some contempt. This guy was actually scared like this by a mortal. It was really embarrassing to a god. "You're wrong, Zamasu. My heart is shaking with fear right now, and that speaks volumes about how dangerous Goten is. I did look down on all mortals before, but these hybrids are an exception. Although as the most noble god in the universe, I am very reluctant to admit this, Black said with an extremely serious face. As Goten's aura rapidly approached, the fear in his heart spread little by little. Then according to what you say, what should we do? Zamasu asked, feeling that Black wasn't lying. Although he had an immortal body, his basic combat power was too poor. If a fight broke out, it would have to be resolved by Black alone. Fuse. By combining ourselves, we will definitely be able to completely eliminate that brat. Isn't this also our ultimate goal? As long as the fusion is completed, the Zero Mortals plan is no problem at all. Black spoke immediately. Their time was running out. If Goten and the others arrived, with their decisive fighting style, they would likely not be given a chance to fuse. Start the Zero Mortals plan early? Then let's start. It doesn't matter if it started sooner or later. Zamasu could only nod his head. Let those foolish mortals experience the power of the supreme god. Then Zamasu directly took off the light green Patara earring on his right ear. At that moment, the bodies of the two were directly collided together by a terrifying suction force. The whole bamboo house was instantly brightened, and an incomparably powerful divine energy was instantly born on the earth. Autor notes, someone here ate Leotan's fermented cabbage beef noodles. Is it truly divine?